you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft hum of a fan, and wondering how life managed to get this heavy? Maybe you've pressed your face into a pillow and screamed, not because you wanted to, but because you didn't want the neighbors to hear. Maybe you've sat alone in your car in some empty parking lot, wiping tears off your cheeks before walking into work, practicing that fake smile you hope will convince everyone that you're fine. You take a deep breath, you straighten your clothes, and you step out, praying no one notices how close you are to breaking. It's strange, isn't it? We live in a world of 8 billion people, yet somehow it has never been easier to feel like you don't matter, to feel like a statistic, to feel small, to feel invisible. But the scariest part isn't that people might not see you. The scariest part is the question that creeps in when everything gets quiet. Does God even know I'm here? Does he see this pain? Does he hear these prayers? Or am I just talking to the ceiling? If you've ever felt invisible, forgotten, or unseen, stay with me, because there is an ancient name for God that was discovered not by a king, not by a prophet, not by someone powerful or important, but by a woman who felt exactly the way you do right now. And understanding that name changes everything. Her name was Hagar. She lived thousands of years ago in a world that didn't value her, didn't protect her, and didn't give her a voice. She wasn't royalty. She wasn't a leader. She wasn't someone people wrote songs about. She was a servant, a foreigner, a woman with no power, no status, and no control over her own life. She was used. She was mistreated. She was pushed aside by people who claimed to follow God. Even Abraham and Sarah, the heroes of faith, failed her. Eventually, the pain becomes too much. The tension in the home becomes unbearable. The emotional weight crushes her. And Hagar does what many of us have done when life becomes too heavy. She runs. She runs into the desert, pregnant, exhausted, terrified, and alone. The desert is not a metaphor here. It is a real, brutal, unforgiving landscape. The kind of place where people don't survive long. The kind of place where hope evaporates as quickly as water on hot sand. Hagar isn't just physically alone. She is emotionally abandoned, spiritually confused, socially discarded. She believes she is invisible, forgotten by people, and forgotten by God. And then something happens that changes everything. In the middle of nowhere, in a place where no one should find her, God shows up. Not to scold her, not to shame her, not to tell her she should have stayed quiet and endured the pain. He shows up to speak to her, to ask her questions, to acknowledge her existence, to call her by name. And in that moment, this runaway, heartbroken, mistreated servant woman becomes the first person in the entire Bible to give God a personal name. She calls him El Roi, the God who sees me. Not the God who sees everything, not the God who sees the world, not the God who sees the important people, the God who sees me. Hagar realizes something profound. She was never invisible. She was never abandoned. She was never alone in that desert. God had been watching over her the entire time. But here's where many of us get stuck. When we hear God sees you, we don't always feel comfort. Sometimes we feel fear, because we imagine God's gaze like a security camera, cold, distant, judgmental, waiting for us to mess up. We imagine God like a boss standing over our shoulder, arms crossed, tapping his foot, evaluating our performance. But that is not El Roi. El Roi is not surveillance. El Roi is not inspection. El Roi is not a divine audit. El Roi is the gaze of a loving parent. Think about a mother watching her newborn sleep. She isn't looking for mistakes. She isn't waiting for the baby to fail. She is watching with tenderness, with affection, with delight. She notices every breath, every twitch, every tiny movement. That is how God sees you. To be seen by God does not mean you are being monitored.
It means you are being known. It means your suffering has a witness. It means your tears are not wasted. It means your prayers are not echoing into emptiness. You are not crying into a void. You are crying into a presence. But let's be honest, you might know this in your head, but your heart still feels lonely. You might understand the theology, but your emotions haven't caught up. So how do you actually feel seen by God? Here's the truth. God often speaks in the frequency of silence, but we live in the frequency of noise. We drown ourselves in distractions, scrolling, notifications, entertainment, busyness, because silence feels uncomfortable. But silence is where God whispers. If you want to feel seen, you have to stop obsessing over how the world sees you. The world sees your Instagram highlights. God sees the moments you didn't post. The world sees your job title. God sees the nights you cried because you felt like a failure. The world sees your mask. God sees the panic attack behind the bathroom door. And here's the miracle. He sees the real you, the messy you, the doubting you, the hurting you, and he doesn't look away. So here's something simple you can do. At some point today, find a quiet moment. Turn off the noise, put your phone face down, take a slow breath, and simply say, God, help me notice that you notice me. You don't need fancy prayers. You don't need perfect words. You don't need to perform. Just be still long enough to remember that you are not alone. You are not a cosmic accident floating on a rock in space. You are not a random collection of cells. You are not an afterthought. You are an intentional creation. You are deeply known, and your pain is being held by El Roy, the God who sees you. You are seen. You are known, and because you are known, you are loved. So I want to invite you to do something simple. If you feel comfortable, type the words, I am seen. Not for the algorithm, not for engagement, but as a declaration, as a reminder to yourself, as a reminder to someone else scrolling through the comments who feels invisible. Let's fill the comment section with hope. Let's remind each other that we are not alone in our deserts. And if you're struggling to hear God's voice in the silence, there is more for you. There is a way to pray even when you have no words left. When you're ready, step into that next moment. You are seen, you are loved, and your story is not over.